Chosen one, stop for a moment and listen carefully. Have you noticed how lately everything you touch seems to be tested? Doors that were once open suddenly closed. People who used to stand by you began to fade away. It's not by accident. Heaven has enrolled you in a class most people never even know exists, the classroom of divine testing. Have you ever wondered why your faith feels stretched to the breaking point? Why it seems as if God is silent when you need him most? You're not being ignored, you're being examined. Just like gold must face fire before it shines, your faith is walking through a furnace designed not to destroy you but to define you. This test isn't about punishment. It's about proof. God already knows your potential. He's proving it to you. You're being refined to recognize your strength in him, to discover that your power doesn't come from comfort, but from confidence in unseen promises. Every delay, every disappointment is heaven's way of saying, I'm preparing you for more than you can currently handle. Chosen one, could it be that this storm is the evidence of your calling? Could it be that what looks like loss is actually God's lesson in disguise? Keep listening, because by the end of this message, you'll understand why the test had to come when it did. Beloved chosen one, have you ever cried out to God and heard nothing? No sign, no whisper, no confirmation? That silence, so painful, is not absence. It's instruction. Heaven often hides its loudest lessons inside quiet seasons. You prayed for direction, but instead of answers, you got confusion. You fasted for clarity, yet the heavens seemed sealed. It makes you question if you did something wrong, doesn't it? But chosen one, sometimes a teacher goes silent during the exam not because he's left the room, but because he's watching to see what you've learned. God's silence trains your spiritual senses. It shifts your dependence from feelings of faith. When the voice of God seems far away, he's teaching you to trust his character, not just his communication. Your test right now is not about hearing him. It's about believing he's still there when you can't. So the question is, will you still trust God when the sign stops showing? Will you still believe he's working when the evidence fades? Because chosen one, the silence is a rejection. It's promotion in disguise. Chosen one, waiting is one of the heaviest crosses to carry, not because of the time it takes, but because of the questions it raises. God, did I miss it? Have you forgotten me? Why is this taking so long? But what if I told you your waiting is actually the womb of your becoming? You've been faithful, yet the breakthrough feels delayed. You've prayed, fasted, obeyed, but nothing seems to shift. You look around, and others are celebrating what you're still praying for. It's frustrating, isn't it? But remember, the longer the seed stays underground, the deeper its roots grow. Heaven delays manifestation only to ensure your blessing can survive once it arrives. This season is training your endurance. God is testing whether you'll still worship when nothing is working, whether you'll still stand firm when everything around you looks uncertain. Waiting doesn't weaken your promise. It weights it with divine strength. The process is painful, but the purpose is powerful. Chosen one, will you allow God complete the work in you before he completes the work for you? Because if you rush the process, you risk losing the progress. The test of waiting is where warriors are formed, not followers. If you're still waiting on God for something big, comment, I'm waiting with faith. Let heaven see your endurance today. Chosen one, have you ever watched your plans collapse one after another, no matter how hard you try to hold them together? You prayed, you planned, you obeyed, yet suddenly everything started breaking. Relationships shattered, finances shook, opportunities vanished. Listen carefully. This is not the end of you. This is a divine dismantling before your true construction begins. It's confusing, isn't it? You thought God was blessing your steps, yet it feels like He's removing the ground from beneath your feet. But sometimes, chosen one, heaven allows what you build in your own strength to fall, so that what God builds through you can stand. What seems like destruction is often divine renovation. God tears down only to rebuild with stronger foundations. When everything familiar begins to fade, it means God is introducing you to your unfamiliar destiny. The test here is not just emotional, it's spiritual alignment. He is purging what can't go with you into your next season. Every closed door, every lost opportunity, every unanswered call, they're all tools in the potter's hand, reshaping your life for greater glory. Chosen one, have you realized that sometimes God lets things fall apart so you'll finally stop holding on to what's broken? Could it be that this collapse is not an attack, but a correction? Heaven is not trying to hurt you. It's trying to heal your direction. When your life feels unstable, it's often because your foundation is being replaced. Chosen one, what if I told you that every delay you're experiencing right now has a secret assignment from heaven? You think it's just late timing, but in the spiritual realm, delay is a divine filter. God uses it to separate your desire from your dependence, your wish from your will to wait. You've asked God to move quickly, but instead of acceleration, you're experiencing pause after pause. The people you thought would help you disappeared. The doors you expected to open stayed locked. You keep asking, God, why the delay? But chosen one, sometimes heaven withholds the when so it can purify your why. God delays not because you're unworthy, but because He's aligning your heart with His timing. In divine delay, your motives are revealed. Are you chasing the promise or the promiser? Are you serving God for blessing, or because you love Him even when He withholds it? This is where the testing becomes transformation. Heaven watches how you behave when the blessing is not yet visible. Every delay carries data. It shows God what level of maturity you've reached in your walk of faith. Chosen one, can you still praise Him in the pause? Can you worship Him in the waiting room? Because when you do, your faith graduates to a dimension few ever reach. When God finally moves, it won't be late, it will be perfect. And you'll see that every second of delay was divine preparation for a destiny too great to rush. Chosen one, have you noticed how God sometimes separates you from people you love right before your next elevation? Suddenly, your circle gets smaller. The friends who once understood you now seem distant. It feels lonely, but that isolation is not punishment. It's preservation. God is protecting the oil on your life. You might not understand why those you trusted started pulling away. It hurts, doesn't it? You question yourself, wondering if you did something wrong. But chosen one, sometimes heaven removes people not because they're evil, but because they're not equipped to handle your next level. When your spirit starts outgrowing your environment, separation becomes sacred. In isolation, your spiritual hearing sharpens. That's when you begin to discern God's voice without external noise. It's the wilderness that produces the warrior. God hides you to shape you. Think of David in the fields, forgotten by men, but remembered by heaven. It was in solitude that his anointing grew stronger. The same pattern is repeating in your life now. Chosen one, could it be that the loneliness you feel is actually divine promotion in disguise? What if this isolation is your spiritual incubation? God is not pushing you away from people. He's pulling you closer to Himself. The test of separation is proof that your spirit is maturing beyond common connections. If you're in a season of isolation, comment, God is protecting my anointing. Let others know that solitude is not your defeat. It's your development. And if this message has blessed you, make sure to like and share so more chosen ones can recognize the power in their isolation season. Chosen one, stop for a moment and look at your situation. The pressure you're feeling right now isn't random. It's refinement fire. You're in the furnace of faith, and the heat isn't meant to burn you. It's meant to burn away what's not you. Every challenge, every hardship, every sleepless night is heaven's way of shaping the steel of your spirit. You've cried out, "God, why does it feel like I'm under attack?" But what you call an attack, heaven calls an appointment. The furnace is not a punishment chamber. It's a transformation room. Just like gold can't be purified without heat, your character cannot be proven without pressure. God trusts you enough to test you, because only the refined can carry the weight of divine purpose. In this fire, false dependencies melt away. You'll notice you can no longer lean on people the way you used to. You'll discover that peace no longer comes from circumstances, but from presence, God's presence. The heat reveals what's real. The closer you get to your destiny, the hotter the fire becomes, because the impurities must leave before the anointing can rest. Chosen one, could this be why your season feels so intense? Because heaven is preparing you for something that cannot be carried by the unrefined? The stronger your future, the deeper your purification. So instead of asking, when will this end, start asking, what is this teaching me? The sooner you learn the lesson, the faster you rise from flame. Chosen one, before every divine elevation comes a painful pruning. It's that season when God begins to cut away things you thought you needed, people, habits, plans, even dreams. You may not see it now, but every cut is a blessing in disguise. Pruning doesn't mean God is taking from you. It means He's making room for what's greater. You probably felt it lately, that sense of loss or sudden redirection. Maybe the job ended, the friendship changed, or your comfort zone vanished. You prayed for growth, but growth can't happen without pruning. God heard your request and answered it, not by adding more, but by removing what blocks your next level. Painful, yes, but absolutely necessary. The vine must be cut before it produces sweeter fruit. Likewise, your spirit must endure trimming before it carries true power. God doesn't prune dead branches, O&L. He prunes living ones that are still bearing fruit, because He knows you can bear more. It's a sign of His confidence in you, not His disappointment with you. Chosen one, could it be that the things you're losing are simply distractions being removed by divine hands? What if God is cutting now so He can crown you later? Don't confuse pruning with punishment. The blade that cuts today is the same hand that will lift you tomorrow. Trust the process, because promotion always follows pruning. Chosen one, have you ever felt like your efforts go unnoticed? Like no one sees the work, the prayer, the obedience you've poured out? Don't be discouraged. Heaven's promotions often happen in secret. God doesn't elevate you in front of a crowd. He does it behind closed doors, where no applause can distract you. You may not have the recognition others get, but chosen one, you are not forgotten. When Joseph was in prison, he didn't know that his next conversation would open the gates of the palace. What looked like confinement was actually preparation for command. The same story is unfolding in your life right now. The hidden seasons are not wasted. They are wombs of destiny. Behind every closed door, something sacred is happening. God is aligning hearts, opening paths, and positioning you for divine visibility. You don't need to chase the spotlight. When heaven is ready, it will call your name. Your job is not to push for promotion, but to remain faithful where you are. The test isn't consistency you show when no one is watching. Chosen one, what if I told you that the delay in recognition is what's keeping you protected? Sometimes God hides you because exposure too soon can destroy what hasn't fully matured. So instead of asking, will people notice me, start saying, Lord, keep me hidden until I'm ready. Because when he reveals you, it will be permanent. If this resonates with your spirit, comment, God is promoting me in private. Like this message and share it with another believer who feels unseen. Remind them, hidden doesn't mean forgotten. It means protected for purpose. Chosen one, have you ever reached a point where faith itself feels heavy? Where you wake up tired of believing, and even prayer feels like lifting weights too heavy for your heart? Don't be ashamed. This is not weakness. It's spiritual fatigue, and every great warrior of faith faces it before divine acceleration. You stood strong for so long. You fasted, declared, trusted, and still the answer seemed delayed. You wonder if God even hears you anymore. You're not alone. Even Elijah, the prophet of fire, once sat under a tree and asked God to take his life. Not because he lost faith, but because faith without visible fruit can sometimes feel like carrying a cross uphill in the dark. When faith grows weary, God doesn't criticize you, he recharges you. The reason you feel this heaviness is because your spirit is stretching beyond old limits. Heaven is building your endurance muscle. You are being trained to believe even when belief feels impossible. The silence of God in these moments is not neglect. It's nurturing. He's maturing your faith from emotional to eternal. Chosen one, could this fatigue be the sign that you're closer to breakthrough than you realize? What the weight you're carrying isn't punishment but preparation. Remember, even in silence, heaven is tracking your strength. You're not forgotten. You're being fortified. Chosen one, stop for a moment and think, how many times have you prayed for clarity, but instead, God sent confusion? You planned to go one way, but everything turned upside down. Suddenly, you're walking roads you never chose. Don't panic. What feels like confusion to you is clarity from heaven's perspective. You may have been sure of your direction, certain that job, that city, that relationship was part of your destiny. But then God interrupted. It's frustrating when divine redirection feels like divine contradiction. But chosen one, God sees a map you cannot see. He knows the turns you must take before the crash you can't predict. Every divine redirection is a rescue in disguise. Sometimes he'll let the plan collapse just to prevent your calling from being compromised. You'll only understand later that what didn't work out saved you more than it disappointed you. God doesn't owe you explanations because his protection is often beyond your perception. Chosen one, could it be that the door that shut on you was actually a wall meant to keep harm out? Could it be that the people who walked away were simply angels in disguise steering you toward your true assignment? Heaven redirects before it reveals. Trust the detour, it's still destiny. Chosen one, what do you do when nothing around you matches what God promised you? When the prophecy says abundance, but your reality screams lack? When he said, you will lead, but you're still waiting for someone to even notice you? This is the mystery of enduring without evidence. You believe the word, but all you see are contradictions. You fasted, but doors remain closed. You stayed faithful, but progress feels slow. That's where the strongest faith is formed, not when everything makes sense, but when nothing does. Abraham waited decades for the evidence of a promise. Joseph waited years behind prison bars. And you, chosen one, are walking that same ancient path of trust. Endurance without evidence is the purest form of belief. It's when your spirit whispers, I still trust you, even when your eyes see nothing. It's not easy, but it's sacred. Heaven watches closely during these seasons because faith that needs no proof carries the power to move mountains. The test is whether you'll hold on to what you heard, even when what you see contradicts it. Chosen one, what if your evidence is already on its way, but God is using the delay to perfect your perception? What if you're being tested not to prove God's faithfulness, but to prove your readiness? Faith isn't proven when you see the miracle. It's proven when you still believe before it arrives. If you're believing God for something you can't yet see, comment, "I still believe." Like this message if you're choosing faith over frustration, and share it with someone who's waiting for their own visible sign of hope. Chosen one, time is one of God's most mysterious instruments. Have you ever noticed that no matter how much you pray, fast, or plan, certain blessings still refuse to arrive early? That's because heaven runs on divine timing, not human urgency. Every delay is a design, not a denial. You may have felt the tension between promise and patience, the painful gap between what God said and what you see. It's that silent stretch where faith feels fragile and time feels wasted. But chosen one, nothing in God's schedule is accidental. You are not being punished by delay. You are being positioned by it. Divine timing requires alignment, not anxiety. God isn't just preparing your blessing. He's preparing you to carry it. Some doors can't open until your character matures to the level of your calling. Imagine receiving everything you prayed for before you were ready. It would crush you. So heaven withholds not to frustrate you, but to fit you for what's coming. Chosen one, what if your delay is divine mercy? What if the waiting room you hate is the training ground for the leader you're becoming? Don't curse the calendar. Trust it. God's clock may tick slower than yours, but it never stops too soon. When his set time arrives, everything that seemed late will appear right on schedule. Chosen one, do you realize that every time you take a step toward your destiny, something in the spirit realm reacts? You're not just living life. You're living warfare. The moment you believe God's promise, the atmosphere shifted. That's why you've been facing resistance. You're not cursed, you're contested. You've been wondering why things suddenly got harder after you decided to follow God's voice. Why obstacles multiplied when you started walking in obedience. It's because your obedience irritates the enemy. Every new level of faith threatens the forces that once held you back. The battle intensified not because you're weak, but because you're finally dangerous. There are invisible battles raging over your destiny. Angels are being dispatched, instructions are being released, and God is strengthening your spirit for victory. You may not see it, but heaven is fighting for you. Every sleepless night, every strange delay, every moment of unexpected confusion, they are not coincidences. They are indicators that something powerful is being birthed in the unseen. Chosen one, could this warfare be confirmation of what God promised you? The greater the calling, the greater the conflict. Don't retreat, resist. What you're feeling isn't defeat. It's friction from your breakthrough. When the battle gets intense, it means the gate of your next level is near. Chosen one, stop for a moment and think about everything you survived. You faced storms that should have broken you, but you're still standing. Do you realize what that means? You're stronger than you think. God didn't just bring you through trials. He built strength in you through those trials. You've cried, you've doubted, you've questioned, yet here you are still believing. You might feel weak, but chosen one, weakness is the seed of strength. God allows breaking to reveal the power buried beneath your pain. The things that hurt you were never meant to end you. They were meant to train you. Inside every chosen one lies a reservoir of resilience that only pressure can uncover. That's why you were pushed so far, because heaven wanted to show you the depth of what you carry. The test wasn't to measure your suffering. It was to expose your stamina. You didn't survive by chance. You survived by design. Chosen one, Have you realized that the very thing you thought would destroy you actually developed you? Could it be that your greatest testimony is being written by the same situation that once made you tremble? You are not fragile, you are forged. And now, heaven can trust you with heavier assignments because you've proven your endurance. If this truth speaks to your heart, comment, "I'm stronger than I thought." Like and share this message so that other chosen ones can recognize that survival is not weakness. It's proof of divine strength. Chosen one, have you noticed lately that your spirit reacts to things differently? The same voices that once excited you now feel empty. The same environments that once comforted you now make you restless. That's not confusion. That's discernment awakening. God is sharpening your spiritual senses for the season ahead. You used to trust easily, move quickly, and say yes without hesitation. But now, something inside you pauses before every decision. You feel prompted to wait, to watch, to test the spirit. You're not paranoid, you're being trained. Heaven is activating your ability to see beyond faces, beyond words, beyond appearances. It's the mark of maturity in the chosen. Discernment is heaven's defense system inside your soul. It's how God protects you before the danger arrives. That uneasy feeling, that sudden hesitation, that inner no you can't explain, that's not fear. That's divine warning. In this new level, your survival depends not on who you trust, but on what you sense. God is showing you how to recognize manipulation, distraction, and deception before they touch you. Chosen one, could it be that your isolation was meant to increase your intuition? Could it be that the betrayal you faced was heaven's way of teaching you discernment? Every disappointment trained your spirit to detect what doesn't belong. Don't suppress it. Don't second guess it. The voice of discernment is God whispering through your instincts. Chosen one, pay close attention. This is the season when God starts revealing what was concealed. The truth about people, intentions, and environments is being uncovered. It might feel shocking, even painful, but exposure is never meant to embarrass you. It's meant to elevate you. You may have noticed how certain things are coming to light. Conversations you were never meant to hear suddenly reach you. Masks start falling, secrets surface. Don't panic. God is not trying to create chaos. He's revealing what's been keeping you stuck. The same way light exposes dust in a room, divine exposure reveals what's been contaminating your atmosphere. Every chosen one reaches a moment where God pulls back the curtain. This exposure is heaven's way of cleansing your path before your promotion. You can't carry hidden deceit into divine destiny. That's why certain people are being revealed and removed simultaneously. It's not betrayal, it's clarification. You ask God for elevation, and He answered by eliminating everything that couldn't rise with you. Chosen one, can you handle the truth when it hurts? Can you let go of what God has exposed, even when your emotions want to hold on? Exposure is never comfortable, but it's always necessary. The faster you release what's been revealed, the sooner you'll rise into what's been prepared. Chosen one, the season you've endured is not ending in silence. It's transforming into testimony. You've cried, prayed, waited, and wondered why the test wouldn't stop. But here's the revelation. God never allows a test without intending to make a story that saves someone else. You've walked through pain that words can't capture. Nights when tears were your only prayer. Days when faith felt like fiction. Yet somehow, you're still here, not just surviving, but wiser, deeper, and stronger. The same road that wounded you is about to become the stage where heaven proves its faithfulness through your life. Every scar is sacred. What you thought was wasted time was actually divine preparation for this very moment. God allowed the test so your story could carry power. You're becoming a voice for those who are still trapped in what you've already overcome. That's why the enemy fought you so hard. He was trying to silence the story that will set others free. Chosen one, have you realized that the very thing that nearly destroyed you is now your greatest ministry tool? God is turning your history into healing for others. The pain had a purpose, and that purpose is unfolding now. Don't hide your scars. Use them. They are your proof that grace is real. If you know your story carries purpose, comment, "My test is becoming my testimony." Like and share this message to encourage others, because someone needs to hear that what broke them will soon bless them. Chosen one, listen carefully. The test you've been enduring is reaching its final stage. You've been through the fire, through silence, through pruning, and now heaven is whispering, "It is time." This is your season graduation, not from school, but from suffering. God is about to certify what the wilderness taught you. You may feel exhausted, uncertain, even numb from all you faced. But those who make it to graduation rarely realize they're near the end until the final test appears. That's why lately the pressure feels more intense. It's the last exam before promotion. The teacher always becomes quiet during the final test, and that's why heaven has felt silent. Not because God left you, but because he's observing how you apply what you've learned. Every tear, every delay, every rejection, it all carried a lesson. You learned patience when you wanted progress. You learned faith when you had no evidence. You learned to stand alone when others withdrew. These are the qualifications of a spiritual graduate. You're being trusted with influence, and influence requires endurance. Before God puts a crown on your head, he ensures your heart can carry its weight. Chosen one, can you sense it? That inner knowing that something is shifting? Don't run from this final stretch. You're not losing your mind. You're crossing the line. Heaven is about to hand you your certificate of completion. You passed tests you didn't even know were tests. Chosen one, this is a revelation your tests have been leading you toward purpose. Everything you've endured was not random. It was intentional. God was aligning your gifts, experiences, and pain to point you toward your assignment. This is where everything starts to make sense. Have you noticed how what once broke you now inspires others when you speak about it? How your pain somehow opens hearts when you tell your story. That's not coincidence. That's calling. The purpose of testing is to awaken your purpose. What you live through qualifies you to teach, to lead, to heal, to guide. You are not here by accident. You were prepared for impact. Purpose doesn't appear in comfort. It's revealed in chaos. It's born in the moments that hurt the most. Every chosen one must discover that the calling isn't about titles or platforms. It's about serving where others are suffering. That's why God allowed you to feel what others feel. So when you speak, your words carry healing, not theory. You became the message before you ever open your mouth. Chosen one, do you see it now? The way your pain shaped your empathy, your losses shaped your wisdom, and your waiting shaped your faith? The puzzle pieces of your past are forming a divine picture. Don't despise what you went through. It was your preparation for purpose. Chosen one, this is the moment everything has been leading toward. The reward of your faith. You've been stretched, tested, broken, and rebuilt, and yet your faith didn't die. That's what makes you unstoppable. Heaven rewards the ones who believe when there's no visible reason to. There were days you questioned if God even heard you, nights when faith felt foolish. But now, you're about to see why he made you wait. Every delay carried a hidden gift. God wasn't denying you, he was deepening you. Because when faith becomes unshakable, blessings no longer become distractions. You can handle what's coming without losing who you are. The reward isn't just material, it's spiritual. Peace, Clarity, favor, and divine authority will follow you. You're stepping into a realm where what once resisted you will start to recognize you. Doors will open without effort, not because you chase them, but because heaven now trusts you to handle them. You've passed the test of trustworthiness. Chosen one, can you feel that peace settling inside you? That quiet assurance that the storm served a purpose? That's a sign that faith has finished its work in you. You no longer need to prove anything. Your endurance already did. The test was never to destroy you, but to reveal who you've become. If this message resonated deeply, comment, "My faith has found its reward." Like, share, and subscribe so this word reaches every chosen one who's still in the middle of their testing. Remind them, the test doesn't end in tears. It ends in triumph.